Yo, what's up? Welcome back. Welcome if you're new. My name is Mark, and today we're back with another episode of Witch at Atelier. This is episode 10, and where we last left off. Before that, though, before we get into where we last left off, you can, of course, check out my reaction to this episode, episode 10, in the description down below for free, and in the pinned comment. Just go become a free member and check it out over there, and then you can come back here for the review and recap. But where we last left off with last episode, we got to see Coco, unfortunately, passed out from a fever after clearing the air with a goat, which was it was good to see them like clear the air a little bit more. And we also got to see Kefri almost drown because he tried messing with something that the Brimcaps did to the vial for the twin to bottle spell, and it unfortunately did not work out for him. He almost drowned. We saw the Brimcap there, which was a little not fun, but that was a good episode. Honestly, the last episode was really good. I did enjoy it a lot, and this episode was also really good, and I'm excited to talk about it. But again, you can check out the free reaction in the description down below and the pinned comment. It's completely free. The link will take you directly to the reaction itself. If you become a free member, check it out, and then you come back here for the review, as I said at the beginning. And while you're down there doing all that, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and ding that notification bell. Hype the video on the YouTube mobile app, and actually, for real, make sure you I can't even speak. For real though, make sure you like the video. It definitely helps out a lot and lets me know that people actually like the video, like the reviews that I'm doing. But anyways, as always, if you're new here, strap in. If you've been here before, you know what to do. Grab your snacks, grab your drinks, grab your notebooks, because I took a lot of notes this time, and let's talk about the episode. So this episode starts out where we literally right where we last left off, which was good. Was TARTAH asking Kefri a question, or wanting to, and then Kefri is like, "Yo, happy to answer questions about magic. Please tell me." His eyes are all sparkling and everything. And that was not the question TARTAH was going to ask about, though. He was going to ask about something completely different from magic, unfortunately. Although technically, what the flash of light was magic, so technically it's a question about magic. It's just not that kind of magic, man, I guess. And this episode, I will mention also the episode title. I don't usually do that because I don't usually need to, but this episode was titled "A Promise in Silver," which is a very TARTAH focused episode, as I can say that immediately. But anyways, moving on, the doctor, she's like, "Yo, Coco has a cold that was brought on by exhaustion," and then she says, "The adults need to be more attentive. She's a witch, but she is still a child, and that she should not have gotten this far." And then that's kind of true, actually. And TARTAH asks why she worked so hard, and Kefri basically says, "No matter what, something we do, something fails us. Mind, body, and feelings?" I'm not quite sure. I didn't write it down, the whole quote. But basically, he says sometimes something fails us. And like, everyone works hard. I'm not even going to bother trying to paraphrase what he said, because I barely remember it. So much else happened in the episode. So, with that said, we also get to see TARTAH finally learn that Coco was the outsider who was like not into magic until just recently, and that changes Coco's what do you call it? TARTAH's opinion of Coco, because that also puts things into perspective. Because he'd heard of the outsider, but he didn't realize it was Coco, which fair enough. And so eventually Coco leaves. Not Coco. TARTAH leaves because he did what he had to, and Kefri was like, "Yo, can you ask the question some other time?" TARTAH's like, "Obviously, of course, yeah." And TARTAH leaves, and then he reminisces about how he swears he saw Kefri with a gaze of ice when he had said he had a question for him. But then he's like, might be my imagination. But then in the reaction, I'm like, "Yo, nope, TARTAH, it is not your imagination. Do not be fooled by his demeanor. Kefri is a cold-blooded, probably a killer. At the very least, he's a cold-blooded memory eraser." And he's also probably a killer, for being completely honest here. He's definitely killed quite a few people in his time. I can't prove it, but he definitely has experience killing people. So he's basically a cold-blooded killer. And also because, like, water is cold. Get it? It, it was a stupid joke, but also it's not a joke. I definitely think he's a cold-blooded killer. And so we learn that TARTAH unfortunately missed the ferry, and because he forgot his pointed cap, and the guard is like, yo, children have tried to get on before with the excuse of being witches, but where's your pointed cap, huh? And unfortunately, TARTAH forgot it, so he got screwed over, which kind of sucks, honestly. But if he had made the ferry, this wouldn't be an episode about him. So you win some, you lose some. And turns out Kiefer's talking to a doctor or nurse, doctor. I actually have no idea. They're not dressed like doctors, so I don't know who's a doctor and who's not. But the point is, Kiefer's talking to him because he used like some water to cool the room off a little bit, like water bubbles, which was really cool. Magic's so cool, man. But then a doctor's like, man, that's so cool, man. Well, magic's incredible. But then Kiefer's like, magic can't cure disease, and doctors are amazing. And this will not be the first time I question the fact of if magic can cure disease or not. I'll talk about it now. Why not? So, because later on I have this conversation in the reaction itself as well, so you can check it out there for free. But I was like, yo, are we really sure magic can't cure disease? And it's not just a thing that, like, they say you can't do, but it actually can, in order to, like, dull the expectations of people. But even then, I don't think that's the case, because the expectations of people are still going to be sky high. So hiding the fact that it can cure disease wouldn't make sense to me, even among other witches. So the question then becomes, can magic cure disease and they just don't know about it? Like, have they tried this, they didn't try hard enough? Or is there something more going on? Like, technically it can. Okay. Well, technically, for healing magic is forbidden, right? So would magic that cures diseases be considered healing magic? And would it be considered forbidden? Following up with that, what's considered healing magic? Genuinely. Cause I imagine, I assume healing magic, at least the kind that's banned, would be the kind that's done on the person's body. But what if, like how the witches of healing craft did it in the past, with like medicine vials and stuff, they put the medicine in the vial with magic. What if they made magic like potions? Would that be considered healing magic, and would that be forbidden? Because technically it's not being used on the body. It's healing magic, but it's not directly being used on top of the body. Just a food for thought, as they say. And so unfortunately we learn in the moment after that someone comes running in there, some dude who's a bar, or not, maybe not his bar, but like a bar is on fire, and it's bad, and there are a bunch of drunk people having a hard time moving them, and he notices that Kiefer's a water witch, sure, and it's like, yo, you can do water? Come with us, please, help us, you gotta help us. But then Kiefer's like, no, I can't. But then Coco wakes up, and she tells Kiefer to go help. Because, and it makes sense, his water magic will in fact be very useful against the fire, obviously. But then after he leaves, Coco is like, yo, to herself. She's like, I'm just putting on a brave face. I'm actually scared to be alone. And that was sad, man. That was really sad, bro. She's too nice for her own good, man. Literally, and others' own good at times. And the next talking point I had before we move on to the next scene was, again, can magic really not cure disease? I think it can. I think it's just, there's just more to it than that. And so finally, the rest of the episode is mostly in TARTAH's POV almost. And literally as well. At times, we actually get to see the screen in silver from his point of view. And it's so fascinating how they actually do it. They literally show us silver. They didn't show us like black and white or like just gray. It was really silver. Although it might have been a little faded to be more just gray, but it definitely wasn't like just black and white. And it was really interesting to see from his perspective how he does it. And I'm really curious how they do this in the manga. Because like manga's in black and white. How do they not like show in the manga his POV of like being like seeing everything in silver? I don't know how they see that. Like they can use words obviously to describe it, but I don't know if they can actually show it really. Unless they like use some kind of like gray like coloring over the page and you're just supposed to understand that it's silver. I don't know. It doesn't really matter in the long run. It's just interesting. And so TARTAH, he goes back to Coco's room because he wants to get the cap that he left there. And he finds that Coco's sleeping fitfully and that her cold has gotten worse. And it looks like the place is abandoned. And I wrote down, adults have failed to be attentive once again. This is how Coco ended up there the first time. Keyfree and maybe Aurugio, but really Keyfree was like not attentive enough. And now because she's sleeping fitfully and her cold has gotten worse, the adults have failed to be attentive once again. And so TARTAH's like, yo, I'm gonna help. Turns out he tries to help, but when he grabs all the medicine vials from the cabinet or whatever, there's no goddamn labels. And like, TARTAH asks a very valid question: who doesn't label their medicine? And I get it. On one hand, it makes sense to make it harder for people to steal it and whatever because they don't know what they're stealing probably. But also, what if like a new guy comes in there, a new doctor or nurse or whatever, and this is their first day on the job, they don't know what everything is. Are they supposed to just literally memorize it then and there? What's what? That's not how it works. That can't be how it works, man. It doesn't make sense. But anyways, but then TARTAH says when he's going through it because there's no labels and he's like assuming people all go by color, which makes sense that they would. He's like, I'm gonna paraphrase again. He says people assume everyone sees the world the same way they do, and that is so true, man. This world, their world, is not disability friendly from the looks of it, when it should be. It's magic. Of all the worlds that should be disability friendly, it should be magic, man. And yet this is not at all. I wonder how common it is to actually label ingredients and medicine and stuff in this world, honestly. But moving on, we get to see some TARTAH backstory about how everyone's like, he'll never do anything with magic. Oh, it's fine now. It's fine because he's a kid right now, but as an adult, oof. And they're just putting him down, disrespecting him, being ableist, and just being super cruel, man. And as I always say, trauma sucks. I say this with a lot of shows. Trauma sucks. Trauma is a bitch. And in this show, it's no exception, man. I'm pretty sure I said the same thing for a goat. Trauma's a bitch. But then also, he's like, yo, I have an idea. Components in magic dyes are used in medicine as well. And so what he's going to do, he has a whole plan that he comes up with. He's going to use a vapor bubble to extract the water from the medicine, and he might be able to identify the original components. So like powdered crystals, stuff like that. And he does a very good job, I will add. He narrows it down to 3 vials with powder in them. But then unfortunately, he gets down on himself and apologizes to Coco because he apparently can't do it. It's beyond him. But I believed in him from the moment we met him, man. Like, so from the moment we met him, and then especially once we learned about his Silverwash syndrome, I believed in him, man. Like, he can do anything, man. I don't know how, but he can do anything. And it's the world of, as I said, it's the world of magic, man. Anything should be possible, including curing diseases, but I digress from that point. And so I did write down also that up to this point, he uses his knowledge really well. And I also mentioned how he has the knowledge and everything. It's just a matter of reformatting how he uses his knowledge. Just like you take his knowledge and apply it in a different way. It'll take some practice, but I think he can do it. And then Coco's like, yo, I got this. Do you have an ink and pen? And she's gonna use a spell that'll help them both. But she uses an ink and a pen that TARTAH made to draw a spell that will help them both. And as it turns out, the spell that she came up with was brilliant, is the only thing I can think of. So you know how there's a spell that they can turn like rock into dust or powder or whatever? Well, what if you reverse the spell and do the opposite, turn powders into solids? And so that's what she does. She draws a spell to turn powder things solid. But it doesn't work the first time, and she's upset because it's shaky and wobbly. But then TARTAH's like, oh, do you need help making it balance? I can do that. Because he finds balance in things all the time, which is really cool to see. It's really cool to see him put what he knows, what he like knows for his tradecraft, to use here too. In the same way like how Coco puts what she did with her mother to use here, like when she does spell stuff and all that. It's really cool to see how people use their past experiences to do this. And so he alters the spell to make it work, because he's also like, yo, what if we like mirror two other symbols, and then because like to like make it 3D for balance and everything, and make sure it like maintains focus and all that. I didn't quite catch everything that he said about that part, I'm gonna be honest here. But then Coco basically says, when you make a spell and alter it to make it work for your purposes, it becomes your spell. And so now TARTAH has his own spell. He's a witch as far as I'm concerned, man. And I wrote down again, I believed in him. I always believed in him, man. And then Coco and TARTAH were happy at work. I wrote that down as well because it was sweet to see. This episode there's a lot of sweet moments, especially towards the end, of just like them being super happy together, and it was just nice to see them happy, because these two don't usually seem super excited and happy all the time. So it's nice to see them happy, especially during a dark time like this. In TARTAH's case, kind of literally. So TARTAH sees everything in silver, actually, right? How does light work with the silver? Like, can he still be blinded by light, even if it's like all silver to him? Or is the light, because it's so bright, different from silver? Like, is it more blinding flash? Like a blinding flash of like white? Because like, we know TARTAH saw that flash of light that like Kefri did, but we didn't see what it was like from his POV, I don't think. So I'm curious, how does light work with his eyes? Interesting. Anyways, we're moving to this point. Okay, so he decides he's gonna use the spell to search the storage room, because the 3 vials that he used it on, they weren't the right one. They weren't the tranquil leaf that he was looking for. And so he moves on. And so we get to see all silver for the most part, see him do his thing, like identify what it is once he uses the spell on the stuff. And he says everything solid looks just like in the books, and his knowledge is helping. And I thought that was really cool, how really, and I wrote this down as well, all it took was one spell, and he's not only able to be even happier than he already hopefully was at least a little happy. But also now he's effectively using magic. And he's like helping with it. Like, it's, again, I bring up this point again. This is a world of magic. How can it not be possible for TARTAH to have like been helped earlier on, like with his syndrome and all that? Like we know Kefri said that the world is not kind to those different, like that. But like, come on, man. Can't the world should be a little kinder to TARTAH, man. He's so smart. He's so brilliant, and he's a great character, honestly. Cause like we get to see like he's a little character tangent. He's like yeah, he's happy, but he's also a jaded kid as well, which is so interesting. He's not jaded in the same way a goat is, or Riche is. I don't know if Riche is jaded, but like he's jaded, but he's also like there's also some hope in him still for like succeeding and stuff, which is so interesting to see how contrastingly different he is from Coco in the beginning. But anyways, I wrote down seeing TARTAH so happy and hopeful is so sweet to see, because it is, man. Especially after seeing his backstory, I feel bad for him, man. I am able to easily empathize with characters that have tragic backstories or sad backstories. It's very easy for me, man. Not off rip because it's like 21 minutes in, but this episode actually got me tearing up quite a bit at certain points, man. Oh. So he eventually he also says that when he holds the seal up to things, it's like the world comes into focus, which is really cool for him to say that. And then the shot that they show as well of him doing that was just really cool to see. But like, moving on, turns out as he finds the tranquil leaf, the doctor shows up, the doctor lady. Turns out she was there the whole time, as she says. And she says that they aren't labeled to prevent people from messing with it. And like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, what if someone is dying? Like, say Coco could have been dying. Like, huh? What do you think about then, man? If she died because of that. But then also, I wrote down, it still felt like the place was abandoned, bro. It kind of did feel abandoned, man. And the doctor, she's trying to recruit him. She's like, yo, do you want to be a doctor by any chance? How's your knowledge of medicine? And I do think he'd be a great doctor, but I think he'd be a better witch. But then as he's about to say something, she's like, she notices the cap and she, you're a witch's apprentice then. And the moment when she says that, we see TARTAH's face, and I wrote down that he was proud almost to be called a witch's apprentice, because any other time he's like, it doesn't seem like he actively like says that he's a witch's apprentice or seems excited about it. Is he actually a witch's apprentice? Is Mr. Nonoa a witch? I never actually noticed that. Never actually questioned that. Is he a witch? Is TARTAH a witch's apprentice? Doesn't matter actually, but the point is he was proud to be called that, which I was happy to see that. So moving on, got like 2 pages left. Fast forward to the next day, Coco's feeling better, and then they both talk about how they helped each other. And as they're getting ready to leave, they're getting ready to leave. Because Mr. Nonoa's there. He was worried that about his grandson not showing up all night. And while they're talking, and they both have their caps on, the guard that chased him off is he's making himself scarce, man. He definitely is like feeling embarrassed, bro. And it is interesting how all it takes to know if someone is a witch apparently is the cap. What's stopping people from just making a pointed cap? Or stealing a pointed cap? Like, is that really the only way to prove that you're a witch to like a guard, like a fairy guard? I don't know, man. doesn't matter, but like it's funny. And so finally, TARTAH asks about the flash of light. But then both of them, TARTAH and Nonoa, are like, what flash of light? Now Nonoa, it makes sense. He doesn't remember. Presumably, you know, did Mr. Nonoa's memory actually get erased? Hear me out. What what if Kifri didn't actually erase his memories? He just like he scared him into it and scared him, or he like filled him in on everything, and Nonoa had a change of heart about telling everyone, and instead they're just playing along now. What if they didn't actually erase his memories? I'm coping because I really like Nonoa and I don't want his memories to be erased. But what if this is like all a ruse? They didn't actually hide his memories, like erase his memories. They just pretended like he doesn't remember. Anyways, Kifri pretended to not know about it. And finally, they leave, and Coco says, "See you later, TARTAH." And TARTAH's happy, and it's all happy and sunshine and rainbows. It's sweet, man. It's just so sweet. Also, I think the boat system that they have is really cool. In like the pieces of the boat to like power it are like they have like the sigils on them, and like you put them together like a puzzle piece, and once the final piece is in there, the boat starts moving. That's just so cool, bro. And TARTAH also decides that he's gonna look into the flash of light on his own. He doesn't completely buy. I don't think he completely buys Kifri and Nonoa not knowing about it, or at least Kifri. And then finally, TARTAH's like, "Yo, Coco, I promise to make a pen for you and deliver it across the river with my own magic." And that'll be really cool to see, man. And then finally, he's like, "So you became..." Nonoa's like, "So TARTAH, you became good friends with Coco." And TARTAH's like, "Yeah, she's the best." Fair enough. And then he's like, "Yo, she'll be amazing someday." But then Nonoa puts a hand on his shoulder and says, "TARTAH, you'll become amazing as well, man." And that was just such a sweet moment, man. I like Nonoa a lot. He's just a really cool guy. Honestly, I do feel bad for him if he did get his memory erased. But Coco tells Kifri about her nightmares. Kifri will try to help, but then she's like, "I'm not scared anymore, it's fine." And Kifri's like, "Are you sure you're not putting on a brave face?" But then she's like, "Nope, I found a ray of hope." And I kid you not, I didn't put this together until she brought it up, but drawing the signs backwards should also work on forbidden spells. I didn't put that together until now. Until like when she had mentioned that, how it should work on forbidden spells too. And like reverse it. Here's the thing. I call bullshit. There's no way it's that simple to do that. Genuinely, it should not be that simple. If it's that simple, anyone should be able to do it. I don't think it's going to be that simple for her. But if it is, then all I can say is that this entire witches community is like scamming her in some way and thinking like it's going to be super difficult to do it or not. If all it takes is just to draw the spell that froze her backwards, that it should not be that simple. If it is, I won't like that, man. There's no way it should be that simple. And so, yeah. Oh, also, we got to see Orugio. Orugio, man. Any episode with Orugio is a peak episode, as I say. But anyways, final moment, we get to see the Brimcaps show up, and they're talking, and then one of the Brimcap that we've been talking to, quote unquote, following really, is like, "So you're up next then?" And the next Brimcap is the embodiment of forbidden magic. Literally just a floating cap and a robe. And I'm not sure how that works. I don't know if it's actually a floating cap and a robe or just someone invisible. Would not surprise me if it's someone invisible. And their plan is to strike when Coco is not under Kifri's protection, aka during a test. And it makes sense. Like, it makes sense during a test is when they get attacked. That's like a classic move. Really. Like for example, another show that had a test had them get attacked during the test was My Hero Academia. During the provisional licensing exams, they got attacked during the test too by Himiko Toga. And it's like, tests are always like the best time to attack students for some reason, because apparently the staff aren't around, the protectors aren't around. Anyways, that's not important. Point is, this was a really good episode. I am very curious. I'm very curious to see how this season ends, bro. I'm very curious to see what happens next episode as well. I want to know. But anyways, we're going on 30 minutes long, so I am gonna end the video here. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Seriously, let me know about my theories, like the questions that I asked, stuff like that. And also, while you're down there, let me know how you think the series will end, the season will end. Obviously, if you know how it's end from like reading the manga or whatever, don't tell me that. But like, if you are anime only like me, let me know how you think the stuff went. Anyways, check out the Patreon down below for the free full-length reaction. Link in the description down below and the pinned comment. The link will take you directly to it. And also, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and ding that notification bell. Hype the video in the YouTube mobile app. And with that said, until next time, my name is Mark. Never stop being yourself. Stay safe there, and I will see all you incredible people once again in the very next video.